to season 3 of On the Range. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about recoil control. And if you watch the gun during recoil here, hopefully you don't see much movement at all. Now, I'm shooting the Recoil Armory match gun, 45 ACP, full power 45, okay? Not cheater ammo, not 9mm, not light competition loads. And if you watch how the gun recoiled and recovered, it should snap back in recovery very quickly. And remember, whether you're a competitive shooter or a defensive shooter, the context in this is the faster you can get your handgun to recover, the sooner you're going to be able to shoot again, and that's always a key consideration. So today I'm going to talk to you about a few secret little pressure areas in the gun that I'm using to control recoil. They're all critical in nature, and once you start to shoot your Recoil Armory gun a lot, if you start paying attention to what the sights are telling you, they're going to give you all of the information you need to control recoil itself. So let's talk about the recoil itself and how it operates in the handgun. When we're talking about the impulse that I'm feeling when I'm trying to control it, remember the gun recoils and recovers like this. So let's talk about key pressure areas in the gun that allow me to control and manage that recoil and minimize muzzle flip. Number one, as we know, I've got an unloaded gun here, my strong hand has to be as high as possible on the back strap of the gun. Literally, little secret here for you, every quarter of an inch that I get up higher on the gun, the more control I have over recoil. So when I make contact to the gun in the holster, and we'll talk to you about the draw process later on, I'm actually indexing and driving my strong hand up on the back strap of the gun. So I've got pressure between the beaver tail and my thumb right here. When I do that, I build pressure and I flag the thumb high. It's really important that I get the second hand on the gun high up on that grip as possible too. And remember, the higher on the grip my left hand is, the better off I am. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, Mike, a high strong hand grip and a high support hand grip, well, where do you actually feel pressure on the gun? Another secret, when I'm gripping the gun, I'm gripping it hard with my strong hand and harder with my support hand. And key pressure areas when I'm trying to control the gun are by applying as much pressure as possible on the back of the gun. Now think about that for a second. I can control the handgun with one of two means. Friction, which means I'm squeezing on the grip panels of the gun itself, or leverage. And if I apply leverage on the back of the gun, and that's the direction it's recoiling toward, I'm going to have a significant increase in recoil control. So when you watch the gun fire downrange, it's actually going to snap back on target very quickly each and every time. I define that as positive neutral control, meaning I have positive control over the handgun, but it's neutral, meaning we don't want to push the gun left, right, up, or down, because if we're pushing the muzzle in those directions, we're going to push the shot off targets in those directions. So pressure on the back of the gun with my strong hand is obvious. When I get my support hand up on the gun, I'm applying pressure by actually squeezing my palms together. I want to activate big dumb muscles to do that. So I'm actually feeling pressure between the palms of my hands and the back of the gun. The third secret I'm going to give you today is how to control that pressure. Think about this as a vise. And if this vise were locked down to a bench, if I didn't have the vise mounted securely to a bench, I could crank a piece of metal down the vise all I want, but it's not secure. So to control the vise, I actually need to lock my wrist tendons and keep my elbow tendons locked. Now I don't want to have my arms hyperextended, because then the recoil can only travel straight up. I want to have a slight bend in my arms. But once I've found this position almost to full extension, I'm applying pressure on the back of the gun, I'm going to lock my wrist tendons and I'm going to lock my elbow tendons. So once again, to refresh, two hands high on the gun, grip pressure on the back of the gun, lock the wrist tendons, lock the elbow tendons. Last but not least, a good forward aggressive stance where I have some of my body weight, and you'll hear some instructors say, nose slightly over my toes, and the bottom line is if I can grip the ground with the toes of my feet, that's where my body weight is, I'm going to have maximum control over recoil in the handgun. So let me load another magazine up. I want to show you some common mistakes and what they look like in the gun, and then I'm going to show you the right grip again. I want you to watch how the gun recoils and recovers. Okay, so I've loaded the handgun back up. Once again, this is a Recoil Armory match gun with 45 ACP. This is 230 grain ball, full power ammo, actually probably considerably more powerful than the match ammo I might shoot in my limited gun. So this is actually going to cause more recoil just so you can see what's going on with a gun. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to watch the gun here. So I'm going to fire a shot, and I want you to watch how the gun recoils and recovers. This should flip a lot, so let's watch how this happens. All right, watch the gun. Here we go. Whoa, see how the gun flips? And when it flips, it doesn't recover snappy. And remember, our goal on recoil control is positive neutral control, meaning I want to have positive control over the gun, and I want it to snap back to center line, back to where I was initially aiming and doing the right thing. Now, vice versa, I'm going to grab the gun this time. I'm going to make sure my nose is over my toes, so I've got an aggressive forward stance. Strong hand is high on the gun. Support hand is high on the gun. I've got this Judy chop position where I'm going to teach you that in the draw process. I've gripped the gun, so I've gripped the gun strong with my strong hand and stronger with my support hand. So I'm really gripping the gun quite hard. And remember, last but not least, I'm locking these tendons up. Now I want you to watch how the gun recoils and recovers when I do this properly. See how it snaps back to center line each and every time? Once again, a bad grip. Watch how the gun flips in the air, flips and doesn't recover. A good grip on the handgun, recover, 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 recovers. So each one of those shots as I'm shooting, the gun recovers so quickly that literally by the time I can mechanically reset the trigger and get ready to fire the next shot, the gun has already recovered. The front sight is where it needs to be, and I'm firing, that A zone on the IPSC type target or a combat effective hits if you're a defensive shooter as quickly as I possibly can. So in summary, when you're gripping your handgun, grip it hard and harder, lock your wrist tendons, make sure you work on getting the proper leverage against the gun, and put all these things together to form a positive, neutral grip on the handgun so you can fire as fast as you can and as accurately as you can. Next on the range, I'm going to show you how to manage that trigger, manage the sights, and see what you need to see to get your hits down range.